Hello, and welcome to another short little video. Went out this evening and did a low light shoot with a lovely model called Helen Saunders. You will notice I work with her quite a lot. Very, very good model and highly recommended. But to the shoot. We just wanted to get out there and create some images. Now, a lot of people are concerned about shooting in low light. I don't want to use too high ISO settings. Not sure how to do it. How do I get the worried about camera shake? Do I need to use a tripod? Well, depends what you're doing. But for the shoot we did, I was using a 70-200, 2.8, but you could do it with a 50mm, you could do it with 2870, or anything where you can have a fairly good maximum aperture. I was shooting on 2.8, and I underexposed deliberately so as I could get a sensible shutter speed. My ISO was up to 1600. So not that high in terms of what a lot of modern cameras can do. And I'm not particularly worried about the grain or artifacts that can be caused from low light photography, because use them to create a gritty, grainy, warm result. When you get to something, I will show you the images before editing and the images after editing. Now, the editing I've done is not huge. It's all done in Lightroom from the original RAWs, and what I've done effectively is lightened it a little bit, used the luminance setting to reduce a little bit of the grain. And that's pretty much it, really. I mean, I will go into a little bit more detail later on. But as you see, the biggest thing is actually just going and enjoying the shoot. Enjoy the art and the creativity of creating images. Not getting too het up on settings. How this should be done, how that should be done. Now, with that being said, here are a few handy tips so as you can maximize your hit rate. For instance, this evening, at one point, the photograph you can actually see just here, for instance, the shutter speed was down to a 30th of a second, which isn't very fast. So I was kneeling down, I had my elbow on my knee, and the camera supported in my left hand, with my right hand obviously holding the shutter release and my elbow pushed into my rib cage. This allowed for a very stable shot and should reduce any kind of camera shake. Second thing I did is I put the camera into high-speed continuous shooting, and I was taking 3 shots at a time. This is because when you initially push the release button, no matter how gently you try and squeeze it, you can quite often get a little bit of shudder. And again, when you release, sometimes you can create a little bit of shudder. So by shooting 3 shots, there is a much higher chance of getting one shot that doesn't have any camera shake on it. Secondly, I have handheld the camera as low as half a second. The hit rate's not particularly good, but by using a similar technique with either 3, 4 or 5 images, you will normally get one that will actually work. So that's one little tip. The other one is not to be worried about underexposing. So long as you can see something in your image, is more than likely you can actually bring up details in Lightroom, in Photoshop, if you use Affinity, Snapseed, dozens of other image editing programs programs out there that will actually bring up some of the detail, especially if you're shooting in RAW. Shooting in JPEG, it's not quite so easy because there's a much more limited dynamic range that is captured. However, it can still be done. But yeah, shooting in RAW, don't be scared of underexposing. Overexposing is more of an issue because once something has been blown out, there is nothing recoverable. So don't worry too much about underexposing. Don't worry too much about grain because you can use it to your advantage. Some of the images you'll see that I processed, I have deliberately increased the grain to give a nice atmospheric feel and look, especially this time of year, depending on when you're watching this. We're actually in November, about midway through, so we're coming up to Halloween, the spooky season. So hopefully you'll like these images, and hopefully this very basic bit of advice will have inspired you to go and create something of your own and at least experiment with it. Some of the later videos I will be talking about how to actually use artificial lighting, whether it be flash, fixed lighting, or as you can see from the back of this one, there was actually a street light quite a way off, which gave a nice little glow in the background. But yeah, I'll go into using all sorts of different things and matters for creating light, whether it's from ring lights, car headlights, portable lighting. I've even used phones for creating a little bit of atmosphere here and there. But this particular one is all about just using the light that was there, nothing added. So, as I say, I hope you like them. And I will give a little bit more detail later on with actually the settings and things that I used. But for now, enjoy these images. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you. Right, well, as you can see, that is the unedited images. So, not much to see there, is there? Really sort of, yeah, from a first glance, it's the sort of thing you would normally just say, just bin it, get rid of it. But it is actually a very fun way to shoot when you do it deliberately. Right, so now, these are the edited images. Now, a little caveat here. I have not used any AI programs or denoise like that. All I have done is used Lightroom. And apart from a couple which I've put into black and white, I have just played with the luminance a little bit, and exposure, and the clarity settings. That's pretty much it. There are a couple where I may have done a couple of other minor tweaks, but that's it. So, let's see what you think. Well, I'm sure you can agree. That's quite a difference. So, and again, this isn't the sort of thing where, you're going to be doing a professional model shoot like it or something like that. But for your own personal enjoyment of enjoying going out, creating something that's interesting, a little bit different, it's fun. It's enjoyable. And personally, I like the images. Some people won't, some people will. Let me know in the comments what you feel about it. But if it's given you some inspiration, that makes me happy. And if it's given you a little bit of confidence to try something new, that also makes me happy. For now, me and Helen are going to enjoy these. She's going to edit some. I'm going to finish off these little ones and probably post something up to Instagram. But as I've already said, please like and subscribe. And I'll see you all in the next one.